Hello children, welcome to the online educlass session for class 6, chapter number 11, Light, Shadows and Reflection. We see so many objects around us. On the way to school, we see things like buses, cars, cycles, trees, animals and sometimes so many flowers also. How do you think we see these objects? Think of same places at night time. If it were completely dark, what will you see? Suppose you go inside a completely dark room. Are you able to see any object inside that room? But when you light a candle or a torch, you can see the objects present in the room, isn't it? Without light, things cannot be seen. Light helps us to see the objects. The torch bulb is an object that gives out its own light. The sun is another familiar object that gives its own light. During the day, its light allows us to see the objects. Objects like the sun that give out it or emit its own light or the torch, they are called luminous objects. What about the objects like chair, painting, shoe, etc.? We see these when light from a luminous objects like sun or a torch or some electric light etc. falls on these and then travels towards our eyes. So, such objects are known as non-luminous because they are not having their own light. By this, we can say luminous objects have their own light, while non-luminous objects glow due to the light of luminous objects and they don't have their own light. Now, recall our sorting material into groups where we had sorted the objects into opaque, transparent and translucent. If we cannot see through an object at all, it is an opaque object. Okay, if you are able to see clearly through any object, it is allowing light to pass through it and then it is called transparent. There are some more objects which can allow light to pass through them partially. Such objects are known as translucent. Right? Now, look around yourself and collect as many objects as you can, like eraser, scale, pen, pencil, notebook, paper, tracing paper, cloth, etc. Try to look at these objects and try to find whether they are opaque, transparent or translucent. And by using this data, finish the table number 11.1 for first pencil, which can be called as opaque object. Okay, second rubber ball, which is also an opaque object. Sheet of writing paper may be a translucent object. Okay, we see that given object or material could be transparent, translucent or opaque depending upon whether it allows light to pass through it completely, partially or not at all. Now, try observing opaque objects in the sunlight. What do you see on the ground? You know that the dark patch found by each of the object on the ground is due to its shadow that we have already discussed in previous chapters. Sometimes we can identify the object by looking at its shadow, but not always. Let's see. What is this? Cock. What is this? A snake. What is this? A cat. And what is this? Santa. Right. Sometimes we can identify the things by seeing their images or the shadows. But from these photographs, can we say that shadow is resembling the object of which it is made up of? No, because by seeing these photographs, we can say that shadow can't be the parameter of identifying any object. Do you observe your shadow in a dark room or at night when there is no light? Do you observe a shadow when there is just a source of light and nothing else in the room? It seems we need a source of light and an opaque object to see a shadow. Is there anything else required for looking into the shadow? Okay, so let's find out. In the evening, go out in an open ground with your friends. Take a torch and a large sheet of cardboard with you. Hold the torch close to the ground and shine it upward so that it is falling on your friend. You now have a source of light which is falling on an opaque object, but there are no trees, buildings, or any object behind your friend. So you cannot see a shadow of your friend. But this does not mean that the shadow is not formed. After all, the light has passed through an opaque object, and that is the body of your friend, to the other side. Thus, shadow can be seen only on a screen. So, the screen is the third component which is very important for the formation of a shadow. The ground, walls of the room, a building, or any such surface which can act as a screen for the shadows you observe in daily life. Also, shadow gives us information about the object, like it informs us about the presence of an object. It gives a raw idea about the shape of an object, and the size of the shadow depends upon the distance from the source of light over the screen. Okay, so the shadow can give us some information, but it also misleads us about the shape of an object that I have shown you. Have you ever tried making some images using your hands by hand shadows? Do you know it is also called cinema in silhouette? Performers are titled shadowgraphists. This allows us to learn about the formation of images or the shadows by using light and obstructing the path of light by our hand, and this makes an illusion that they are some type of animals, and by this you can understand we cannot get any idea about the size, shape, or image of an object which is being used for making the shadows. So children, this is all about today's video. Shadows tell us that we can have a creative darker side also under the shower of light, and that light is our knowledge, and the shadow is the print of that knowledge. So keep printing beautiful pictures on your life. See you soon in the next video. Till then, thank you.